Nefmi, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making a slip dress, loosely inspired by the dress that Sabrina Carpenter wore for her birthday, which was a shortened version of the dress that Kate Hudson wore in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I've got here this sort of gold satin fabric that I'm going to use, which I feel like is kind of similar to that dress. I was actually going to use this fabric as a lining for this fabric. Have a look there, it's really pretty. But I'd actually bought both these fabrics separately, so I didn't get to compare the colours. So then when I actually put them next to each other, turns out this is quite yellow and this is kind of like, there's kind of like a redness to it, pinkness, if that's a word, pinkiness. It's kind of pink, and I wasn't sure the two fabrics were going to work together, but I actually put them together just now and I'll show you. It actually is quite pretty, because I was a bit worried as well that it would take away from the shine of this if I put this on top, but I think that works really nicely. So I'm going to put these two together in the dress, and then like the dress that it's inspired by, I'm going to do a mini slip, and it's going to have a v-neck. I was thinking, because I've got this lace fabric as well, I'll have some cutouts. But yeah, I'm really excited to make this dress. Let's get started. Just for reference, this is the pattern that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be making E, so this one. So this is what it's going to look like. I think I've said that the dress is going to have cutouts, but what I mean by cutouts is the sort of lace inserts here. I'm not going to have the strap here. And what I am going to do is I'm going to take a couple of inches, I think, off the sides of the dress, just alter the pattern slightly, just so that it's a bit more fitted, because I think it is meant to be a little bit loose. This pattern is more for sort of nightwear, which you'd want to be kind of more loose and comfortable. And yeah, I just want my dress to be a little bit more snug. Not too snug, but a little snug. So when I cut out my pieces, I'm going to need one of each piece out of this fabric, and then one of each piece out of this fabric, so that I can lay them on top of each other like this. Oh, and I forgot to say also, I need extra out of this for the cutouts as well. I'm just laying out my fabric nice and flat here so I can cut my pattern out accurately. Honestly, I'm in love with this fabric. Also, I was thinking, Sabrina wore these really tall yellow heels with her dress, but I know I don't have anything like that. I've got some pretty tall heels, but none of them are going to match this dress. I feel like the dress does have a bit of a 60s vibe to it though as well, and I've got some Mary Janes that could work quite nicely, but I should probably make the actual dress before I start deciding what shoes I'm gonna wear with it. Anyway, back to the sewing. I'm just laying out my pattern pieces on the fabric now, and now that I've got all the pieces laid out, I'm just pinning them down before I cut them. And finally, I'm cutting out the pieces. Well, not finally, I still have to sew them all together. I'm taking my time with this step to make sure that I cut out the pieces accurately. Okay, so I've cut out my very first piece wrong, which is a great start. I'll show you what I mean. So this is the back of the skirt, and you see this arrow, this is the grain line. So it's to do with like how the fabric stretches. So in this direction, it doesn't stretch, the grain is this way. And I cut this piece with the grain this way when it should have gone that way. So it should be on the diagonal like this. And that's gonna affect how this piece that I've just cut out now is gonna fall. So I'm gonna have to cut it out again, but I think I've just about got enough fabric to redo this piece. I just have to make sure I don't do that again. So annoying, but it is what it is. And I think I can correct it. Smooth sailing from here, hopefully. Okay, crisis averted. I've got all my pieces out of the satin, so now I'm gonna cut my lace. I'm laying down my lace fabric. It's the exact same process as for the gold satin, except this time you'll notice that I actually put down the pieces correctly. I learnt my lesson from the first time. I've cut out most of the pieces I need out of this fabric. I just have the front piece left. I've had to do it a little bit more slowly than with the satin because it's quite, I mean, satin's quite slippy as well, but this is particularly slippy. But what's nice about this fabric I've noticed is it doesn't seem to fray, which makes my life a little bit easier. I finished cutting out all the pieces. There they all are. No more hiccups or anything. Rest went nice and smoothly. But yeah, so now I just need to iron out all the pieces. I probably should have done it at the start, but oh well, living life on the edge. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna layer the satin pieces and the lace pieces on top of each other and sew them together, just so that I've got less pieces to deal with because I've got a lot of tiny little pieces of fabric at the moment. It's going well. I feel like the cutting is always the longest and like most tedious part. Once you've got all your pieces together, it's really quick. The actual sewing part, so we're basically halfway through. Just making sure my iron's on the right setting. I think it started when I started learning to sew, but I have such a fear of burning fabric with an iron. It's happened before and it's the most heartbreaking thing. Okay, everything's ironed, so I just need to sew these together. I'm not sure which colour I should stitch this with. These yellows are way too yellow. And then I was thinking maybe I could match it to this, but this isn't anywhere near. So it's between these, what's that? Bit of fabric. But it's between these two. This one's probably the best match, so we'll go with this. And also just show you, I've done a zigzag stitch along the edge just to prevent the satin from fraying. Just a little update on where we're at right now. I've just pinned the pieces onto the mannequin so that you can kind of see what it's going to look like. I've attached this little lace insert bit to the bust pieces, and I've put a little binding on there as well. I also need to do a binding around the armhole, but we'll get onto that later. Next, I'm going to attach these two bits together and then attach the skirt piece to the bust piece. And you can see kind of where the inserts are going to go as well. It's a little bit on the long side. I think I'm going to shorten it later towards the end once I've got the back piece attached as well. I'm just attaching the bust pieces together by hand. Also, does anyone else have that biscuit tin and use it as a sewing box? I feel like that's a thing, that specific brand of Danish biscuits. We're very, very nearly done. I'll show you where we're up to. So I've gone ahead and I've attached the straps and the back to the dress. The only thing I've got left to do now is the hem. Something weird kind of happened when I attached the back and the front, I noticed. The front is quite a bit longer than the back for some reason. I say some reason, it's probably my fault, like when I was cutting it. But what I'll do is I'll just chop this bit off, and I'll actually probably make it shorter than the back as well, because it is still quite long and the Sabrina carpenter dress is a lot shorter, so we need to fix that. I'm just cutting off the excess length here, and then I just need to sew the hem so that we don't have any raw edges. Exciting news! The dress is done. Honestly, I'm so happy with it. It's turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to take some pictures of this and post them on my Insta later if anyone wants to follow. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for what I should make next, put them down in the comments below. Thanks so much, guys. See you.